Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. I'm just updating the topic for today. So today we are not creating a faster layout, we are exploring a map. So let's do that. Okay. Exploring a first version of the map. Okay, we should see that now. Yeah, great. So hi everyone. Let's recap where we were. The end goal of this project that I stream for an hour every week. The end goal is to create a kind of atlas, a visual atlas of science, where we would see countries and continents, so to speak, representing the different regions of science, you know, social sciences, the humanities, biomedical sciences, physics, psychology, and so on and so forth. So the goal, it has already been done with great results 10 to 15 years ago. The reason why we would redo that today is that the maps created at the time could not be shared and developed and expanded and used, frankly, because they were created with data that was not shareable and open. So today, very simply, we try to redo these maps, but in a way that will make them free and accessible to everyone, to be designed and reused as well. So again, the replays of this episode are on YouTube if you are curious about the previous steps. But today, where are we? We are at the steps where a first map of science has been created. It's imperfect, very much, but still we have a map, so we can start looking at it and understanding how it could be made, you know, easier to read and you know, more usable. So let me show that. What do we have? It's a bit complicated because I've just created a version of, because now I can create maps on the go. So let me show you the files I have. I hope you can hear me, by the way. So, okay, screen sharing. And you need to see my screen. Yeah, that's better. Okay, great. So as you see, I have many different versions. And if you are curious about the file extension, GEXF, this is the file format for networks that you can open and use with Gephi. Let me write Gephi here. Gephi is the free and open source software to visualize networks, and our map is basically one big network. So the one I wanted to show you today is yeah, I think it's this one. So we'll have plenty to say about each version and why and stuff, but let's just open. So I'm opening Gephi, this software that just makes you, oh, it pop-ups there. Let's shift it to there. I just hope. Yeah, because it's pretty heavy, you know, streaming and having and opening a huge, oh great, opening a huge network while you stream, it's not ideal at all. Okay, but it did work, so okay, let's make it undirected. Okay, so this is the graph opening slowly. Bonjour Romain. Hi. I'm not sure we know each other. Very glad to see you here. If you have any question in French or in English, don't hesitate. I'm just streaming in English, but that can be a bilingual. Okay, so what you see here, oops, okay. And I'm just gonna decrease the sound in my ears. Okay, what you see here are, oh, sorry, I didn't mute my, okay, what you, should, sorry. What you see here are 70, that's the number you see here, 70,000 plus journals. Sorry, so these are my kids calling, so I'm gonna just take the call. Okay, back to streaming. Sorry, it's really live, but I had to. These were my kids calling, so I just wanted to make sure everything was all right, and everything is fine. What was I saying? Yeah, I was saying that what you see here is the number of journals on the map, 70,000 plus, and the connections between them, 2 million connections. A connection between a pair of journals mean that a journal, the two journals or 5 scientists have published in the 2 journals over the last 10 years. If you take these 2 journals, right, they don't have a connection. The reason is that you have less than maybe 0, right? But you have less than 5 scientists who published in this journal and in this journal over the last 10 years. So today, what we're going to do today is try to make sense of this map And as you see, we have a lot to do because it's far from obvious, right? So it can also be useful today as a way to, if you're interested in Gephi, as a way to see how can you explore big networks independently from this one in Gephi. The first thing I would suggest to do is to look at what I would suggest to remove the display of the connections, of the edges. So the edges will not be removed in the graph, it's just that we won't show them. And you simply click there. And as you see, when we hide the connections, we see some structure becoming visible, in the sense that we have a core and a periphery, right? And when the edges, when the connections are displayed, so it takes a few seconds because that's a big network, you see that with the edges we miss out here. Hey Nikolai. So let's remove the edges. Second, what we have to do is that we want to make the nodes, so the journals, a bit smaller so that the map is less crowded. So to do that, we can go to the appearance panel at the top left. Then we click on the resize icon, which is there. And then unique, we have a choice between unique and ranking, and we just want a unique size for all journals, and we're going to put the minimal, which is 0.5, whatever unit that is. And we click on apply. And as you see, the network is much less, you have less ink on paper, if I may say. Another thing we want is to remove this, you know, when I hover on the graph with the mouse, sometimes things get highlighted or disappear from view, and I don't really control that. So in order to remove this effect, which is quite disturbing when you explore the graph, I think that what you have to do is to deselect auto select neighbor and deselect highlight selection. So let me do that here. And my expectation is that now when I move the mouse you know, over the network, I'm not disturbed by you know, again, regions of the network being highlighted or not. I'm going to center the network, so for that I just right click and drag the network to the position, and then I release the mouse, so there. That's pretty much good. What else do I want to do? Well, I think that's good for a start. Now we want to know, you know, what's on the map, and Nikolai, who was there last week, you know that we were that close to achieving the display of journals names on the network, but I failed because of lack of time. So I finished that during the week, and now let me show you what we have. So I'm going to switch to the Data Lab view, which is a kind of Excel spreadsheet or table view of the data. Again, it takes quite some time given the size of the network. So that's what we have. Let me, does it make sense to zoom in? Yes. So before last week, we had just the ID, like you know, arbitrary numbers for each journal. And what we did last week was to add this second column where the name of the journal is actually added. So what we can notice is that we don't have all names of the journals, and I'm a bit curious why. So that's something I have to do, check that. So that's one issue. Well, that's one issue. The good news is that the encoding of the text is correct, meaning that if we have Arabic characters or Chinese Mandarin characters we do have them, but as you see, not always. Oh, you don't see it. You see, we have a journal name which the encoding is not correct. Can I try and find one where we see Arabic or Chinese characters? Well, later on, I suppose. Interesting. I thought there would be so many more. Oh, seen it. Okay, I missed it. Too bad. Anyway, there are some. Yeah, good point. Hey, Mathieu. Glad to see you. Oh, I have Chinese here. Zhong, and by the way, that means Zhongguo and Mathieu. I think you can. I don't know if you can read Chinese, but you can speak it, I suppose. So maybe if I zoom in for you, but maybe it's a bit technical as a. Anyway, we have a Zhongguo something here, so Chinese journal, and it's properly displayed even if this is even if it's not a Latin character. So back to here. Oops. How can we? Yeah. Where are the journals on this map? You know, and what is this strange tail there, and who is in the middle and stuff. So, what we can do, we have several ways to explore the data. The native Gephi, oh, we have many actually. So let's start by the most. Yeah, exactly what's here. So the first way would be to select this icon here, edit node attributes. So you click there, and once you do that, you can then zoom let's zoom in. You can zoom with and then you can click on a given journal. So I just clicked, and I was lucky because when the dots are so small, it's super hard. But when you click on a node, as you see there, you have a menu that displays everything we have on it, and we were unlucky. This one has no label. So let me try it. Oh, we have one. So I just clicked randomly on another, and that's the Journal of South African Law, and it's in the title is both in English and Afrikaner, I suppose. Oh, you don't see it. Let me there. But as you see, it's not convenient because of the size of the nodes and because of the because you have to select each node individually. So a second thing we can do is, so I don't know in which order I'm gonna, yeah, the second thing you can do is install a plugin which is called the inspector. So you do that by going to Tools, Plugins. Oh, it takes a bit of time, of course, everything takes time. You go to Available Plugins, then you click on Name to rank the plugins alphabetically. And then, so here there is not the inspector plugin for me because I already installed it, but for you it should be next to the isometric layout. Anyway, you select it and you install it, and you have to restart Gephi. Once you have installed it and restarted Gephi, let me close that, you're gonna have this icon here that will appear thanks to the plugin. So what it does, oh yeah, it's not gonna be super useful in our case, but still I wanted to show it to you. Then what it does, so you have a bit like before, you have to zoom in. So I really increase the zoom, and then when you hover a node, oh, you see it, right? It displays a contextual menu. By the way, all these things are null, it's boring. Can we find a journal that has a name that would be a bit more fun? Hey, come on. Null, everything is null. Okay, so difficult. As you see, we're gonna have other ways to. Oh, we have one. The Journal of Orthopedics Trauma Surgery and Related Research. Wow. So it's convenient to, well, I find it easier than looking at as we did, like clicking and looking at the editor. And by the way, I would like to thank again Veronica Espinosa for telling me about this plugin, because it was there in the plugin list forever, for I don't know, for a long time maybe, and I was simply not aware of it. And I think that this plugin can be super useful. Oh, especially that here we have, you know, just a node's ID and a node's label. So that's why we have just that on screen. But this plugin can show you all the attributes. So, you know, the contextual window is going to be much bigger if your node have attributes. So I really, I mean, it should really be, it's a kind of plugin that could really make it as a native feature of Gephi, in my opinion. So thank you, Veronica, for telling me about it. Okay, so we've seen, you know, selecting the nodes, using this plugin. Now what we can use is, and that's going to be much more convenient for our use case. So I'm just zooming again on the network. So by the way, we still don't know where our journals are, right? It was fun, but what we can use is an addition by Mathieu Bastien. I think it was his effort in the filters domain. Well, my pleasure, Nikolai. There is a lot of goodness that oh, you have that, Mathieu. Display on hover? How do you do that? Can you let me know, Mathieu, how do you do that? I'm clueless there. Bottom right, where you unselect. Bottom right. Let me, you know, on the, do you mean in this panel? So label. Oh, like hide non-selected, is it what you mean? Okay, strange. I just, that's gonna be, yeah, okay, let's try. So I've just switched on the display of labels, so I expect yeah, sorry, you're right. Yes, you're right. You're right. Oh. Well. Time for a coffee break. Oh, did you see that? Did you see it? Actually, it took over quickly, right? So maybe you don't see well, but as I can't. As Mathieu, I had just the time to quickly click on hide non-selected, and that, yeah, that was just the flash. The flash was the thing. Okay, so wow, okay, wow, that's, so it does work, it does work. Oh, I see. Oh, that's brilliant, because, so why do we have this ugly thing? It's because my selection area is quite big. And where do you configure your selection area? Right there. So I'm gonna reduce it there. I'm gonna click on proportional to zoom, can't hurt. Oh, it's much smaller, so, and then as Mathieu indeed suggested, I should reduce the font size so it's there. Yeah, and so ideally, yeah, I always forget about this screen, see this wheel scroll, you know, the middle button of the control wheel scroll. Let me try that here. Oh yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. So yes, to be complete on that, I should apply a layout. So label adjust that would spread the nodes so that the labels do not overlap. Then, you know, when I would do that, the labels would not overlap. But it's just that I'm a bit afraid of disturbing this structure if I do the label overlap thingy. So I'm going to keep that in mind for, that's still quite useful, I must say. I mean, when you can read the labels, the navigation is pretty intuitive. Oh, and the funny thing is, you can also keep that, you know, as you see the plugin with the contextual window is still on. It's not exclusive, you know, these two. Anyway, I'm going to deactivate it. I think I didn't stop my Spotify. Okay. Okay, so yes. Yeah, so thank you, Mathieu. I should make a list of these different things. And Mathieu also suggested that this plugin becomes even more, I mean, it makes sense when you, and I didn't do that here, you know, when you actually resize the labels according to a matrix that makes sense, so that only the important nodes, whatever you define important, only the important nodes have large labels. So that with this trick by Mathieu, we would not be, yeah, that would be super great. Basically, you would see labels, you know, resized according to the importance of the node. And if I had a label overlap layout, it would be super readable. So, so good lesson. Okay, so there is, what did we have? We had that. And the one I wanted to show you, yes, we were at the native, Gephi native solutions. So that's one, and another is filters. So we are slightly changing strategies. We will not look at labels exactly, look at the things. So it's in the filters category. How can I show it? And so where is that? Is it in topology? Maybe operator, no. attributes. Yeah, attributes, or you don't see it. So let me do that. Yes, so this in filters panel, then attributes folder. In this folder, you have a single element, which is search. And that's really a convenience. So you just take it and you drag it in the bottom panel. So, you know, the upper panel is where you have a catalog of filters for you to browse and to select. And once you have chosen one, so we have chosen search, you drag it and drop it in this bottom panel, and that means it's going to be activated by you, you know, the one you selected. So let me zoom in. Search. So we're going to search in nodes, we could search in edges, and now let's say that I want to make a kind of sanity check. I want to make sure that all journals in marketing are not scattered anywhere, but that they would you know, be in the same region. So I could, again, if you look at what I did previously, you could try and search the labels looking for marketing journals. But what you can do here is just type marketing, because, you know, click on update, and then you apply the filter. I hope you're going to see. So the filter is running, and it's going to hide. Yeah, so we don't see much. Let's see if I can just, I shift the background from light to dark. It's going to take some time, obviously. And do we see anything? No, everything is dark. So I'm going to make the nodes bigger. There. Well, we still don't see anything. So I stop the filter. Yeah, my GPU indeed is it's not even a GPU, you know, it's like it's integrated with the we lost Hi Veronica, glad to see you here. As you see, Veronica, we are making great what's that? We are making great progress. So I'm joking because we see nothing. Okay, let me color the. Oh, but it's because. Okay, it's because of this hide non-selected stuff, I suppose. Let me deselect that. Everything is so slow, so hide none. Okay. Okay, removing the labels just for the sake of. Why don't we see the nodes? So I'm going to color the nodes in light blue. Oh, here they are. Oh, and you see, oh, that's great. So you see the resize, I resized only the marketing journals. Yeah, to recenter you have this magnifying glass there, but I don't trust it too much. Sometimes it also resizes. So I prefer to drag and drop with the right click of the mouse, but indeed the magnifying glass can help recenter. Okay, so I didn't do that really on purpose, but basically I have resized the journals that have marketing in their titles. I just wanted to see whether they are meaningfully regrouped in one part of this atlas, or whether they are a bit scattered everywhere. The sad news is that it's not regrouped in a particular region. It is a bit, right? We see that we have this hemisphere or this region as compared to this one, which is not empty of marketing journals, but almost. But it's not tightly grouped as I would expect. We're going to discuss that later, right? What are the expectations and what can we do to try and match them. At the moment, I'm going to just try and look at the journals. So this one here, it's not super easy. Journal of Medical Marketing. Okay, so if it's near the medical journals, I wouldn't be hurt too much. This one is in a language I don't speak. Marketing Rinek. Okay, doesn't help me. This one here is environmental conservation. Okay, so and was not. Just trying to select. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in here. So okay, we have a big cluster of marketing journals there. Let's hope that when I click on them, I find like how would you say that? You know, like core journals of marketing. So this one is International of Sports Marketing and Sponsorship, and not a central journal of the discipline. Journal of Marketing Management. Yes, it's I know this one. Come on. And what about this one? International Review on Public and Non-Profit Marketing. Not super central. The Journal of Marketing Theory and Practice, I heard of it. Marketing Intelligence and Planning. International of Bank Marketing. International of Marketing Studies. These are not super central journals in the discipline. Journal of Historical Research in Marketing. Well, I like this one, but I don't know about it. Journal of Marketing Channels. Okay, wow. Okay, so all of that is marketing, but where are like Recherche et Application en Marketing? That's funny. That's a French one, and I know about it. Journal of Public Policy and Marketing. Okay. Okay, but the big names that you would expect are not there. So if I take maybe the most famous one, which is called Marketing Research or Marketing Science, let's take Marketing Science. So what you can do is flip to the data table view. You search for a name, and so I just found the Marketing Science, and then when you right click on it, you can choose select on overview. So I click that, and when I'm back on the overview, and again if we just take the time to, oh yes, so it was right in the middle of the others. Oh, that's this one. European Journal. Where is the marketing? Okay, these journals are a bit more industrial marketing, management, European Journal of Marketing, Come on, can you just click on this one? Oh, but that's the arrow of selection, the area of selection, I suppose, is still a bit big. So I reduced it. Yeah, marketing science, okay. What about this one? Journal of Marketing. Okay, so this cluster is psychology in marketing, not super. Okay, I'm just finishing up. I don't want to bore you. Okay, these journals are much more famous in marketing. So why? Oh, and they're actually closer to the center. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, so it makes a bit of sense, but it's not. Yeah, Mathieu, sorry, I just see your comment. That was an issue, yes. So it's like, it's not super convincing. It's like interesting, but not something an end user would appreciate in terms of clarity of the map. It's not clear at all. Before we move to basically having a debate and a conversation on how to improve that, I just want to show you the last way to explore nodes on such a big network. So that's by using not a filter. So let me, before I leave that, maybe you want to see not just marketing, but let's take some, if anyone wants to suggest a very specific subdomain in science and see whether we see it scattered in all over the map or whether we find a cluster of journals discussing that, please give me a domain and before we move on. Because I type marketing, but maybe you don't really care. Any suggestion? Come on. Real time, yeah. Close to your interests. But I'm not sure, well, we can try, right? I'm not sure you're gonna have any, I'm gonna type rendering, and maybe we have journals addressing rendering. So I'm filtering. No. It seems no journal has rendering in the title. Let me confirm that in the data lab. No. Hi, hello. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to know the newcomer, but hi. Okay, let's try high energy. Let's try high energy. So first we're going to confirm that we have journals about it. Yeah, we have advances in high energy physics. Let me zoom in. Journal of High Energy Physics, High Energy Chemistry, High Energy Density Physics. So we do have journals, and then let's switch over and see whether they are clustered or located in the same region. So what was it? High energy. High. Oh, you don't see. It doesn't want to type. I think my computer is really overworked. What's wrong? Or maybe I should remove that. Maybe, I'm not sure. So I was saying high energy. No. The thing has so I'm going to remove the filter and I'm going to add it again. Looking for high, or maybe it's my keyboard, or I don't know. Come on. Okay, is it my keyboard? That doesn't react, or is it Gephi? Let me try to just type. No, I can type in a text editor. Oh, okay, it works. So I was saying high energy, update, and filter. So we see nothing, but we know we have journals, so it's because the size of the nodes are surely too small. So I'm gonna increase their size to 5. Oh, we see there, and I'm gonna change their colors so that we don't mistake them for marketing journals. You know, physicists would hate that, I expect. So color, bright fuchsia pink, and then when we remove the filter, so I just remove the filter, yeah, they are kind of the same region here, right? So I would expect them to be physics, and this one here on top, oh, you don't see, sorry. So as you see, they are, oh, you don't see that well. Can I just, how can I zoom in? Yes, great, I had this one. So this is the center. We have kind of a grouping there, and we have an isolated one. So I would expect these ones to be physics related, and this one from, you know, we had one from chemistry. We're gonna just check that. I'm gonna click on this one. No, it's too hard. Oh, got it. Proceedings of the whatever conference on high energy physics. Okay, so that's a proceedings, even if I just looked for journals, so it's not super clean. Anyway, it kind of works, right? But far from enough from a user's perspective. The last way we can look at this map is by using the word cloud plugin that I have developed on this Twitch channel just before we started this project. Yeah, Nikolai, I think it's, if they're relatively apart, it's because we're gonna discuss right after, but it's because this map is the visual grammar of the map is not ideal, but we're gonna discuss that. So the word cloud plugin, that's something you can find the tools, you know, plugins panel, as we said before. In available plugin, you just rank the plugins by their names alphabetically, and then you scroll down to word cloud. So you don't see it here because I've already installed, but for you, that should be there. And once you have installed it, you should show it by going to Window Word Cloud Plugin. Once you've done that, it's gonna appear next to filters and statistics. It's gonna appear here. So let me do that. So what is this plugin doing? It takes the most frequent words in your current selection. So let me do a selection. You know, I'm just dragging that to make it a bigger selection. Oh, we don't see, I mean, it's not clear at all with the black. Let me switch back to, oh yeah, that's better. Okay, so any node that is, you know, in the cycle, in the disk, any node will be, there will be text mining being done on the nodes that are within the disk. And what kind of text mining? Super simple. It's going to take the most frequent words of these nodes, and it's going to rank these words, and you're going to be able to see them here. So why is it interesting? Is because when you move, and you see that's going to be not very fluid, but when you move the cycle, then the list of top words will update there. And so hopefully we're going to have a kind of coherence where here, when we move a bit there, we're going to have maybe the social sciences, like words that are typical of social sciences, as compared to there, where we hopefully we have another discipline. So how do you use it? First, you go to settings. Thank you very much. That's nice to hear. So the assumption I made was that English was the most common use case. So by default, English is selected, but you can add other languages that you would expect to be present in your nodes. In this case, we have a multiple language corpus, so it's not easy for us. I could pick all languages, but I don't know how that would work out. So anyway, I'm just going to stay with English. Then what you should do is click on refresh. And there the plugin is asking you what are the attributes of the nodes that you want to analyze. Because if you are familiar with Gephi, you know that a node can have an ID and a label, like we have, but it can, you as a user, as a network builder, you can add many attributes to the nodes, and you might want to perform the text mining on an attribute, not an attribute rather than another. In our case, we want to make the analysis on the journal's names, which is not in the ID, but on the label of the node. And then we can just click on start, I think, right? Oh no, just before that, how many keywords do you want to display? Well, let's go to 10, that's the max. And then we can just click on start. So there is a first phase, which is pretty quick, I suppose, where it does the crunching of all the attribute values that you selected. So it's really computing top words for all the nodes. Okay, it's done. So now you can use the plugin. So what you do is you switch, we were in the settings tab, you switch to most frequent keywords, and you just move around, and as you see, the list is updating to the right. So it would be, I don't know if you can, yeah, it's like, my computer is powerful, but to an extent, right? So let me zoom in I mean, you might be curious about the list of the words we see, so, and I'm curious too. So here we have management, business, society, technology. Of course, we always have journal and revista and international, as top words. And in the next iteration of this plugin, I think I should add the possibility for the user to supplement the default list of stop words with a personal list, because journal, we would like to remove that in any case. Okay, so let's continue. Economics, management, studies, law, Gestalt, management. So all these regions seems pretty coherent, right? We don't see physics and medicine and high energy, right? We just see things that relate to various subfields of social sciences. Same here. So education is top, but we still see social, law. So we see psychology and education and health. So Korean, as we're going to discuss that later, but we have a big country-specific or language-specific dimension. But education, health, medicine, society, okay, now we have medicine, health, medical education, education, law, university studies. So here we see we moved away from English-speaking journals. We see I don't know, is it Turkish? I don't know. And if we continue moving, so that's, yeah, Cyrillic alphabet. And then we see engineering. So what do you say? If I scrap tweets with one hashtag, it is supposed that we can get many languages for sure. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce your nickname, but what you say is exactly what I created the plugin for, as a way to find quickly clusters definitions. Exactly. And I say that every time, but I should give the credit where it's due. The original idea for this word cloud plugin comes from Veronica. Veronica had seen a kind of similar idea in Cytoscape, which is another famous software for the visualization of networks. So it doesn't do the same, but then that was the seed of the idea. And now if we go to the middle of the network, right, so I'm right in the middle, yeah, we see like medical and like hard sciences, so to speak. Like chemistry, materials, medicine, technology, engineering. Okay, so I'm gonna, and if you want to make Gephi stop the heavy computation behind, you just cancel the run. Okay, it's already 4. Oh my god. So what I wanted to do, but I suppose is just really, and I'm gonna just move back to here. I'm gonna look straight at the camera because that's really a question of having a dialogue with people who have an interest in the subject. Like, how can you move from the map we have to a map which would make sense to a user? So we are not completely clueless. Let me share with you. We can be inspired by previous maps, right? So let's have a look at one. I mean, the most famous one. Yeah, this one here. I don't know if it's the most famous. That's the one I appreciate the most in terms of effectiveness. I don't know how to say that precisely. Let me find it. It's a bit sad. It's not really. It's not high definition, but that will do. Okay, let me share it with you. Yeah. This thing here. So first, let's state the problem. The problem we have is manifold. The first problem is that, as Nikolai asked about, we have the beginning of a cluster of journals when they belong to the same discipline. We have tried with marketing and we have tried with high energy physics. And in both cases, we had, like, you know, on the map, the journals were kind of close on the map, but nothing really tightly coupled, as you would expect. It's not a defect of the map in the sense that the way we constructed the map, two journals are going to be connected if many authors published in both journals. But these authors or these journals, they are connected with many other journals just because authors publish in many different journals. So two journals in high energy physics can be strongly connected, but they are also strongly connected with other journals that would tend to tear them apart. So it's not a mistake, it's not a defect of the map that journals in marketing or journals in high energy physics would be close to each other, but not completely tightly, regrouped in a region. I'm reading the comment by Nikolai. I'm not sure if I follow you, Nikolai. So I'm going to finish listing the issues we have. So the first one is that we have a kind of expectation that marketing journals would be all together, and we have an expectation that high energy journals would all be together, and this expectation is defeated by what we see in the map, and it's not a mistake, but that's an issue in terms of usability and usefulness of the map. The second big issue we have is languages. And again, it's not a defect, it's not a bug, it might be a feature. In the map you see here, they don't have this issue, and the reason is that the underlying data is only English-speaking journals. So yes, it makes things easier in the sense that two journals will be connected just because of their disciplinary affinity and not because of any proximity in terms of language or geographic origin. But it's a very incomplete portrait of science, right? It's really English-speaking science. And by the way, I think the underlying data is like 12,000 journals or 10,000 journals as compared to the 70,000 journals we're using. So it's easier, but it's incomplete. Reading your comments, Nikolai, yeah. So first, as I said, kind of expectations are not met in terms of domain regrouping. Second, the multilingual aspect of the dataset plays a role in the final layout, which we don't know exactly how, because our exploration was pretty limited, but we can't have a result as clean as the one we see here. So yeah, these are not the issues, but this is what we are dealing with. And so Nikolai is suggesting many things. So So I'm going to have a look at Frascati manual, but if it is what I suspect, which is a kind of, so Nikolai, can you confirm, is it a kind of pre-established ontology or categorization of fields of science? Is it that? I could just click on the page, right, on the link that you provided. Let me do that. Yeah. It's like, yeah, so yes, that's one road, but that's the road I don't, that's not a road I want to take. So if I had unlimited time and energy, yes, for sure. But it's interesting, I agree with you, but I'm more interested in an alternative route. It's just a matter of taste. Huh? But I'm much more interested in emerging maps of science, so not things that have been defined and pre-constrained by you know, organizations, but I would like to paint an emerging atlas of science. So I don't know if I'm clear, Nikolai, and does it make sense to you? But it is precisely the reason that makes me neglect and not consider. Okay, cool. That's the reason why I don't want to go this road. If I was if I was to make not a joke, but you know, if I want to be a bit incisive, I would say that I would love to map or overlay the Frascati manual on the maps we're going to build. And in particular, I would have the expectation that the maps by Frascati or derived by Frascati manual would not overlap nicely with the emerging maps we are trying to create. But so what I have in mind, and honestly, it's just an embryo of an idea, or and Nikolai, is that something you suggested or you touched upon last time? You know, was it on Twitter? Maybe on Twitter. Can't remember, here on Twitch or on Twitter. The fact that how to reduce the number of ages, and I think it was on Twitter, and you suggested to, you know, group, you know, you cluster the map, and then each cluster becomes a supernode. And when you think of it, that's what they did here, right? So they didn't do it through clusterization and then a cluster becomes a node. They used the approach suggested by Nikolai. So they didn't use the Frascati manual, but they used a predefined categorization of science provided by a company. So at the time it was Thomson Reuters, but now it's called Clarivate, and you know, which provides web of knowledge or web of science data. Anyway, they group journals by subject categories, which are super sensible, right? It's like so this way, each node represents like a couple of hundred of journals of the same subject. You know, like maybe one of them is economics, another one is management, another one is organization theory, another one is anthropology, and so on and so forth. My taste is really to maybe achieve that, but through an emergent, you know, through an algorithmic definition, you know, an unsupervised, through unsupervised learning. And to speak more clearly, you know, if we could use a Louvain algorithm or the equivalent to recreate this ISI categories, these subject categories, I would love it. It's just that I'm not super confident. I'm quite sure it's not going to work, because when you look at the network, so how can we make it? It's really hard to see here. If we are just painting all the so see, this is our network, and we have just seen that marketing journals were not all I mean, if we apply a clustering algorithm, I don't expect at all to have all journals of marketing neatly packed into one category, into one cluster, and then high energy physics journals all together. I mean, what we have just seen in this preliminary exploration is that the modularity of this graph is not super high, and it doesn't, the communities do not neatly overlap with what we would have as an expectation, you know, as domain experts. Yeah, and Nikolai, I'm not even talking there, I'm just talking about the fact that the disciplines will not be neatly broken down into communities. I've not even started discussing the counter influence or the other effect that the languages will bring. So so it's not we're going to conclude not with a plan for things to do next week. We're going to conclude with this statement of a problem we have, and I'm going to just think through it. A big ingredient in the thinking is that our map is coming from, you know, two journals are similar if many authors publish in the two journals. The map you see there, you have, so here, two journals are not connected directly, right? These are two subject categories. So these are several hundred journals being connected through a single link to another subject category, which represents several hundred other journals. And they are not connected through a similarity of authors, they are connected through a similarity of citations. You know, if the hundreds of journals there cite many sources that the several hundred journals there also cite, then you have a connection. What I mean is that their approach leads to an end result which is usable, and you know, that makes sense. Yes, I would. No worries. So there is this one. It's not the original source. I mean, they make use of a map. Yeah, they had access to the data through a CD-ROM. It's really another time. Yeah, so the reference I just shared should be enough to give you pointers. So I'm hopeful. I'm always very optimistic, but I'm hopeful we're gonna get somewhere. But where is the map? Yeah, this one here. I'm hopeful, but honestly, we have a big step, and that's not about coding or it's not about programming. It's about thinking. The good news, we have an example. We have an example of something that makes sense. I don't want to pick the same approach, namely using the Frascati manual or any other kind authoritative definition of scientific fields. That would be my last resort. Let's not be so definitive. So that would be my plan C or D. But my plan A is to find a way conceptually to regroup marketing journals because in the data something would reveal or embody this relation between marketing journals. So it could come from authorships, and that's the first direction I took here, by connecting two journals if they had many authors in common. But that could be keywords, and you're totally right, Nikolai. Keywords or abstracts. Yeah, I love text mining, as you see with the word cloud plugin. So abstracts could be nice, or it can be a combination of authors and keywords. The only thing is, do we have, okay, I'm gonna just conclude on that. Do we have abstracts in OpenAlex? I feel not, we don't. If we have abstracts, we're gonna play with words next time, and that's gonna be great. Oh, they have keywords. I remember that now. Okay, look at that. We have okay, OpenAlex does not include the plain text abstracts due to legal constraints. So the fight is not over for open access. I mean, the publishers are even keeping abstracts closed. I hate them. Yeah, Nicola, I'm curious about that. Yeah. So they don't have abstracts. They have, what do they have? So it's an inverted index of what? So that looks, so despite 0, growing interest in, so we have the content. No, we have the content, but presented as an index, not as a plain text. One could say that could be even better. Okay, I'm gonna click on your link. Ooh, text. Text is nice, but text is heavy. That's gonna be. I'm gonna suffer, but I love working with text. So what did you send? Okay, Nikolai, please send me your thesis this week, or maybe not the thesis, but like a summary of it. And let's see. Okay, but I think we're gonna end on that. Yes, text is gonna save us. Text and or authors, but text. So two journals are gonna be connected if they discuss the same concepts. And why am I optimistic? Because I would expect marketing journals to be really tightly coupled there, because they all discuss marketing or consumer behavior or brands or advertising, but a very small subset of common concepts. Well, it's an empirical question. We'll see, but I'm very hopeful. Oh, you're not finished with your thesis? Oh my God. Oh, okay, I didn't know. Oh, well, well. Let me click on that. Okay, you're in the middle of it. Okay, I mean, you are at the end of it, but you are really into it. Okay. Yeah, if you know, sharing a PhD work is always sensitive. You're like, you know, I don't want to be to get my work stolen because I've sweated and spent blood on it. But I promise I will not share it. You know, I'm gonna do whatever you consent I can do with it. You know, if I can be inspired by it for the work we're doing, then it's fine. But if it's just embargoed, it's fine with me. But up to you, Nikolai. And yes, can you pitch your thesis? But again, in just a few words. We are never specialists of. Oh, cool. I remain prudent, and I'm going to ask you, but I'm curious. So yes, Nikolai, can you just in one or two to three sentences tell us, you know, what's the thesis about? And then we finish on that. Okay, super close to what we're doing, super nice. Great. Yeah, so I mean, what I have in mind is like because presentation of research data, like what kind of, so Gephi seems to be involved. Oh, I didn't look at screenshots. Let me look at screenshots. Yeah, Gephi clusters. Yeah, very well. We are thinking about the same issues. Okay. I would love to read, you know, how you thought about these issues. Keywords. I suppose it's so heavy, we're gonna do experimentations, you know, like on subsamples and see whether that's gonna be nice. More code to write, you know, just to parse the data from OpenAlex and, you know, do experiments. I hope. And also, yeah, experiments to see if it works, and also calibration, you know, because all of that will work depending on some parameters. Where do we put the cutoffs and stuff? And if, I love to do things from scratch with the tools. And if text mining. Yeah. Yeah. Especially that, is it using word embeddings? Yeah, oh, sorry, you don't see it. I didn't share my screen. Sorry, I'm on it. Okay, great. I like to do things from scratch, but one thing I don't do and I'm not good at is word embeddings. So if this thing, suppose it does word embeddings. If this thing does word embeddings, then that would be pretty cool. Okay, let's try that. I'm gonna try it on. I'm gonna pick some of my papers. So that's an abstract from a paper. And the index it suggests is economic growth, futures research, growth, natural resources, sustainable development, reactions, Rome, Meadows, People's Republic of China. No, there is no relation to that. Anyway, international economics. So as the usual with statistical models, it's like mainly good and mainly correct, but also completely polluted. It's polluted by noise. Oh wow! You have made an manual index of thousands of articles. Did you do that was your intent to build a kind of golden standard? Ah, fantastic. Okay, just one more minute on that, and then we're over. Nikolai, it's funny because I on another plane, I'm doing sentiment analysis, and one thing we lack completely in sentiment analysis is a golden standard. And actually, there is a lack of benchmarks in many computational problems on text, and you have a lot of benchmarks, but that are really crappy. And I'm sorry because I know there's a lot of effort being put in that, but it's often test sets which are being delegated to Amazon Mechanical Turkers, but with instructions that are not super precise, and as a result you get golden standards which are not super gold actually. But then everybody trains their data sets against these training sets. So what's really missing in many areas is like PhD grade benchmarks, like a benchmark that has been devised and designed and built with the rigor of a PhD study, because then you know what you are benchmarking against. So in this case, you build a benchmark or a kind of rigorously designed data set of a list of titles, a list of abstracts, and their index, so that we can measure solutions against that. Well, if we go this road, I'm gonna give it a try, right? We are on Twitch going to build, I don't know if it's gonna be an index, but something like that. Maybe not, I'm completely, we'll see. And then we'll see how it performs against your golden standard. Okay, that's it for today. As you see, we are back at the drawing board. We have a map, but yeah, I see, Nikolai. I suppose OpenAlex is a big OpenAlex data is really you know a big item on your radar. Did you see, Nikolai, that they completely they announced that they are changing the author IDs in OpenAlex? And you had some reaction on that on Twitter, because these were supposed to be permanent IDs, but they are just changing their, yeah. I thought the reactions were pretty nice. I mean, nobody put you know, a flamethrower on them saying, well, you're, because they are doing their best, I suppose. But you know, modifying permanent author IDs, it shows how difficult the thing is. Okay, I'm finishing on that. Thanks a lot for your participation. I don't know how it's gonna look like next week. I'm gonna think of that every all the week, and maybe we're gonna have some serious suggestions to discuss for next week, like plans. We'll see. See you on Twitter by then. Nikolai, it was, you know, I know PhDs are hard, you know. It seems yours is very hard too. You're gonna recover, don't worry. You're gonna, you know, get your Viva and then we recover, I assure you. Have a good week, everyone. Thanks a lot for, well, the dialogue and the conversation. And see you next week for the next steps. Cheers. Bye-bye.